Hi everybody and welcome to the Arcopia Kitchen. Today we are going to be making apple cider vinegar. So let's get started. So I don't know about you guys, but we had buckets of apples this year. I don't know how. Our plants are quite small. But we managed to get a really good harvest. We've been eating them all fall, and we still have a couple buckets left to use up. I've done absolutely everything you can think of with these. I've made apple sauce, apple butter, I've chopped up the apples and stuck them in the freezer, apple pie, apple crisp. Give me more ideas. So with the rest of this, we're going to be making apple cider vinegar. I'm also going to say technically this is not real apple cider vinegar, as real apple cider vinegar is made from apple cider. First, you would ferment that and then it turns into apple cider vinegar. So technically this is apple scrap vinegar, and it's a little bit less acidic than cider vinegar, but it's delicious and it's great in everything. So we'll go through what we need to get started. It's not a lot. You need a couple jars, one for your apples or more depending on how many apples you have. You're going to need some water and sugar. It's 2 tablespoons of sugar per 2 cups of water, and you're going to dissolve the sugar in the water. We're also going to need a coffee filter or just a clean cloth and a rubber band. You can also use the screw top for your jars as well. I like to use the rubber band. You're going to need your apples. If you don't have a lot of apples and you don't think you have enough to make apple cider vinegar, what I suggest doing is, as you use your apples, save the peels and the cores, put them in the freezer, and then just keep adding to that until you have enough to fill a jar like this. Alright, so let's get started. This apple cider, I'm going to refer to this as apple cider vinegar, even though it is the apple scrap vinegar, just so we have that clear. And you're going to use the peels and the cores. It's a great way to use up apple scraps. And I'm going to be using the meat of the apples just because we have so many. So you're just going to chop up your apples. Like I said, I'm putting the whole thing in there just because we have so many apples and I don't have any other use for them. They are starting to go bad a little bit. They're starting to get a little bit soft, but they're still great for apple cider vinegar. Our kids have been eating these like crazy. I'm surprised they haven't gotten sick of them yet. If you've got any brown bits or rotten pieces like this, you don't want that to go in your jar. So I'll just keep that in a bucket for my chickens. So what you're going to do is fill your jar about almost all the way full of apples, and then after that we'll add the liquid. I'm sure most of you know the benefits of apple cider vinegar and just how healthy it is for you. It's really good at managing type 2 diabetes and managing your blood sugar. It also has been proven to be beneficial in cardiovascular disease in animals. We use apple cider vinegar in everything around here. It goes into our cooking. We use it as shampoo. It goes into beauty products that I make, and it's just something that we use every day. So if you want to make apple cider vinegar and you just can't afford apples anymore, or you don't have any of your own apple trees, the one good use I would say for Facebook anymore, the only reason I have Facebook these days is because of some of the groups on there. There are groups where people are just giving away their apples and other fruits. Where I live here, you can get buckets of apples. There's so many people offering their apples. There's been cherries and Hass-caps and everything you can find for free, and it's all being given away for free. So you guys do have access to things like this, and I suggest taking advantage of it with the price of food and the inflation of groceries that has happened and is yet to come. So I didn't wash my apples. I just gave them a little bit of a rinse. If I was using store-bought apples, or if you're using apples that maybe have been sprayed with pesticides or anything like that, I would wash them. But just for what we're doing, I'm not going to be washing them. Just a little rinse is good enough. All right, so that's plentiful enough. So I've got my water here, and I've already dissolved the sugar in it. Like I said, it's 2 tablespoons of sugar per 2 cups of water, and then it's dissolved pretty well, so I'll just pour that on over top here. Hopefully I don't need to make any more. Oh, that was perfect. So if you're using jars like this, just so you know, I did 4 cups of water and 4 tablespoons of sugar. So, and that was the perfect amount. So we've got our apples in here, we poured the sugar water on, and now you're just gonna cover it with your coffee filter or your cloth and a rubber band. So now that you've combined your apples and your sugar water, you're going to let it sit on the counter somewhere out of direct sun, and it's going to sit there for about 2 weeks. If you notice any scum or anything forming on top, you can just scoop it off with a spoon. The other thing I'll do to prevent mold growth is just about every day I'll do this. I'll take the lid off and give it a little stir. I'll take a spoon and stir it up, and that helps prevent mold from growing on top. So after about 2 weeks of it sitting on the counter like this, you're going to strain the apples out. You're just going to keep the liquid, and you're going to let it sit for about, I usually let it sit for about another month. That's about perfect timing. And at this point, you're going to go by taste. It's going to smell like vinegar, and that's how you're going to know it's done. Once it's done, you're going to take this off. You can put a lid on, and you can store it in your cupboard, and it'll be fine for, I don't know, we go through it pretty fast, but it should be fine on your counter for about a year, or in your cupboard, or wherever you're going to keep it. Alright, so this is another jar of apple cider vinegar I made earlier in the year. It's done. You can see there's some sediment on the bottom. That's totally fine. That's supposed to be there. So if that forms, don't freak out or anything. But I'll bottle this up now. I'll put a real lid on it, and then I'll keep it in my cupboard. So that's really all there is to making apple cider vinegar. It's really easy, and I highly suggest everybody do it. Thank you guys so much for watching.